Hello world. Everyone out in YouTubeville. Uh, God has given me so many true stories uh, that are that are really they're kind of fascinating. Some of these stories. If you like to listen to stories of miracles, of true miracles, things that God has done for somebody, well, just stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel, or stay tuned to other videos that I'm going to be putting out in the future. Um, but I have this one story that I'd like to share with you folks. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. How the way that God works is just so incredible. You wonder sometimes, is God really paying attention to me? Does he really care that much about me? I mean, of all the people in the world, there's so many people. I'm here to tell you that God sure does. And he knows some of the stories that I'm going to be sharing in the future. He knows everything about you, and even the little small things in your life. If it concerns you, if you're concerned about it, then he's concerned. Well, this story that I'm going to tell today, it's really neat. I think it is anyway, because, well, it happened to me. But these same things can happen for anybody, to anybody. But anyways, I wasn't feeling very good at one particular time in my life. We can all we can all remember stories or things that have happened, um, with other people or something, and they upset you. It's no big deal. Everybody has times like that. But anyway, I wasn't having a good time with certain people in my life, and I got to thinking. Is God's love like their love? You know, and through knowledge, I know the Bible quite well, but through knowledge, I knew that God's love is perfect, and is far beyond any love that even I could have for somebody else. Is just so far beyond. I knew that through knowledge, but I just didn't feel very good, and I was really questioning. God, is your love like theirs? You know, and it's just a simple thing. But I went to work the next day, and while I was at work, it was break time. If I remember correctly, it was break time at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I took my break, and I think I was working alone that day, if I remember right. I used to do construction work, residential construction work, carpenter, and anyways, I wasn't feeling good at all that day, and when I went to take break, the Lord spoke to me. I believe that God spoke to me, that I was the apple of his eye. And that made me feel pretty good. And I was thinking, wow, if that was really you that spoke that to me, um, that would be just totally awesome. That would be just so awesome. But I wasn't altogether sure. I mean, I was pretty sure that God spoke to me, but I wasn't altogether sure. So I just prayed this little prayer, and this is similar to what I've said. I said, Lord, that was awful good. What came to me is I'm the apple of your eye, but that's really good as long as it came from you. If it just didn't come into my mind somehow, just on my own. But if you wouldn't mind, I prayed that, Lord, if that really came from you, that I'm the apple of your eye, if that really came from you, Lord, I pray that you would confirm that today, this very day, that you would somehow confirm that I'm the apple of your eye. You know, this is just a simple testimony, I know, but it's true. I don't believe in lying. And any of these stories that you're going to hear from me, they're the absolute truth. But so, anyways, that was at break time. And the guy that I was working for, he came along right out of the blue, and he said, "Mark, I gotta take you to this little small job that I gotta get you to work on." And so I just said that simple little prayer: Lord, if that was really you, somehow speak that to me by some other means, sometime today. So he came along and he took me to this house, of which I've never been before, and the lady in the house, I never met her in my life. I never knew, I didn't know who she was. And so anyways, I went in and he showed me what I needed to do, and it was just a few little things. And then he left, and then I introduced myself to her, and to make a long story short, she seemed to recognize my name, and I told her, well, maybe you heard me either sing somewhere, or that I was going to be in a concert, because I do a lot of singing, especially at the time I was doing a lot of music, and I told her that I did country gospel music, and she said that was my next question. I wanted to ask you what type of music that you did. So anyway, to make a long story short, I'm not going to go into too many details, but she took me off to one side into this room. It was like an office in her house, and she took me in there, and she felt to give me this paper, and this lady, she was the most wonderful Catholic lady I think that I've ever met. This lady, it was obvious, she was a very devout Catholic and very close to the Lord. And she took me in this room, and she showed me not just one box. It was like box after box of these papers, and full of these papers. And she lifted one box up, and then she went and got another box, and she pulled that out. And anyway, she went through all those stacks of papers, and she pulled this paper out, and she said, "This is for you." So, so she took that paper out, and she made a copy of it, and she gave it to me, and I have it right here, and I'll just I won't read it off, because it would take too much time, but I'll put it up here, and you can read it if you like. Just put on pause. But it starts out, "My Father's Love" is the name of it, and you can see she she wrote my name right here. She wrote my name, and that's her writing. And she gave me this story. If I can hold it right to the camera so that you can see it, and if you like to read it, there it is. But it's about my Father's love. See if I can get it all here. Okay, that's about it. Well, I thought I went home later on that day, and she gave me this, and I read this over, and I just couldn't get over that. My Father's love. There's no way that she could have not. I was a total stranger to her, and she comes along with this and gives. Anyways, I thought it was just totally awesome. But then I remembered what she told me, that everything and these are things that she writes. Like, she would get up early in the morning, and she would write these things down, that she believed that God gave her to write these things down every morning. But she said that with every story that she does, that she has a reference in the Bible to back it up. So and so on the back is this reference. This is a story that I wrote myself down here, but this is her actual. It's hard for me to run my finger here just right, but this is the Bible reading, and in the reading confirmations given to me by our Lord Jesus Christ in Zechariah 2, verse 1 through 10, and John 12, 7 through 10. So I thought, well, the story was great, so, but I thought, well, I better look up those scriptures. And so anyway, I'm just making this quick. But this all happened, from the time I prayed until the time she gave me this was about 2 hours. So in 2 hours' time, I didn't know how God was going to confirm this. But this all happened in 2 hours. But I'll read you just in Zechariah chapter 2, 1 through 10. I won't read 1 through 10, but Zechariah 2, verse 8. This is what it says. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations, which spoil you, for he that touches you touches the apple of his eye. Isn't that incredible? I mean, inside of 2 hours, he that touches you touches the apple of his eye. So I just thank God. Inside of 2 hours, he gave me a complete confirmation. If you like this story, stay tuned, because keep watching for my videos, because God has blessed me with so many stories that are just like this, and I'm gonna try my best. I thought about writing a book. I'm not a writer, so I when YouTube came along, I figured, well, that's the best way that I can share these stories, and actually that's a story in itself later on. So God bless you, and whatever you're going through, just remember, Jesus knows all about it. Believe me, he knows all about it. God bless you, and see you next time.